Good afternoon, reInvent. I want to start with this image that you see on the screen right now. And this graph is the dream of every tech founder and the nightmare of their SRE. What we see here is the story of the launch of Manus AI. Now, by raise of hand, anyone knows Manus? All right, Manus is the first generic agent as a service that was launched in March this year. What you see on the blue area here is actually the amount of web traffic related to searches around the Manus launch. The first announcement happened on March 1st this year. A couple of days after the service was announced, the wait list for the Manus service jumped to 2 million people waiting on the wait list. In mid-March, they actually opened up the paid-for subscription option. And a couple of weeks later, they realized that the storage infrastructure that they designed in order to launch the service with would be able to keep them running only until May, which was 2 months later. So they knew that they were running against the clock. They had 2 months to figure out how to get their storage infrastructure to a place that it could properly hold and continue to scale the amount of demand that they were facing. On April 1st, they contacted TiDB for the first time. And by May 1st, we already worked together with them to migrate their previous solution to TiDB and get them up and running. And from that point on, Manus was running with zero performance degradation, keeping on onboarding thousands of new customers on a daily basis. Later in this presentation, we will break down how TiDB is capable of dealing with such a challenge. My name is Udi Gottlieb, and this is Catherine Sizemore, and with TiDB. Thanks for being with us this afternoon. Before we dive further into how we did it, I want to give everyone a chance to get that story in more details. This QR code on the screen right now is a 10 minutes keynote presentation that Manus gave in our annual conference a few weeks ago. If you want to see the 10 minutes keynote that actually is sharing their story right straight from them, please scan it and you'll be able to see that on YouTube. So before we move any further, I'm going to give you 90 seconds crash course on distributed SQL. For those of you who don't know what distributed SQL is, let me take you through this analogy. What you see on the left-hand side is the good old known relational databases that we know for 40 years. Those are the databases that actually the entire business world is running on. Databases like Postgres, MySQL, DB2, Oracle, all fall into that category. Those databases do a fantastic job in delivering ACID compliance. They support SQL protocols, and they provide very strong data integrity. However, it's very difficult to scale them, and it takes a lot of resources to operate them on a daily basis. About 15 years ago, a new breed of databases was born, the NoSQL databases, which are very different. They're all like the antithesis of the RDBMSs. They're very highly scalable. They provide no or very flexible schema, depends on who you ask, and they have very high reliability. However, you cannot run SQL queries against them, and they're very limited when it comes to query capabilities. And the integrity is also challenging in some cases. So what do you do when you want to take the best of those two worlds? Well, this is where NewSQL or distributed SQL comes in. And this is what TiDB is. TiDB is one of the leaders in this relatively new category that emerged 10 years ago called distributed SQL. So a little bit about us. As I said, we were founded 10 years ago as an open source project. And our open source project enjoys the popularity of over 40,000 GitHub stars. So that makes it the most popular open source distributed SQL project in the world. We are deployed on more than 4,000 enterprise deployments in over 25 countries. And some of our largest customers are actually here with us, companies like Databricks and Atlassian, which we are proud to call our customers, are right here, and you can go and talk to them about what TiDB is driving for their businesses. Now, what we pride ourselves with is scalability. Now, if I'll ask any one of you, what do you think about when you think about scalability? I think most of you will talk about data volume. But that's just the tip of the iceberg when you think about scalability. Because our customers were expecting much more from us when it comes to other dimensions of driving scalability in the database. They're expecting us to drive QPS and TPS in the millions. They want to be able to connect to the database with millions of concurrent users. They want to be able to manage objects like schema and tables that are also in the millions, and that is super critical for implementations like Menace or for other multi-tenant implementations where schemas and database objects are really the element around which the database needs to scale. Think about an action of adding an index to the database, and how long does it take if you don't have the right architecture underneath? We know that many of our customers are hesitant to introduce new indexes because it might take them days or even weeks. But with TiDB, we're able to process 1 million rows of database index in a second. Think about what does this unlock for the business. And everything that goes around the back end of the database, like batch processing, like data ingestion, all those needs to be supported and run fast with very high capacities. Over 100 terabytes for batch processing and over 10 petabytes when we talk about backup and restore. Let me give you one concrete example, again, of one of our customers that is here with us, Atlassian. Atlassian approached us less than a year ago in order to launch their new plugin environment called Forge. Forge allows third-party developers to build extensions around Jira. Now, everyone knows Jira, right? I suppose. Now, Jira has probably more than 300,000 customers and few millions of more community users using that solution on a daily basis. Now, if you think about what does it mean to provide a developer with means to develop plugins around their Jira instance, this means like a mini multi-tenant environment for each such developer, around which they can develop a whole set of tables and schemas that needs to be isolated from other developers' environments. Through that implementation, we were able to bring under our management over 3 million tables and 4,000 database schemas. The level of saving that we were able to offer Atlassian was a 50x, not 50%, but 50x reduction in the number of clusters that they were managing prior. So we were able to take them down from 750 Postgres clusters down to 16 TiDB clusters. Now, if you're in the database infrastructure space, think about what it means to you and your team to suddenly be able to reduce the capacity that you need to manage by a factor of 50x. And we did all that without any performance degradation, and they were able to run their upgrades and maintenance also with no disruption to the service. So this is just an example for when we talk about scalability, what kind of value we're able to drive to our customers. But this is just the beginning. A few months ago, we introduced a new generation of our architecture called TiDBX, which drives a whole new set of values and capabilities to the database space. I would like to introduce Catherine that will take us through the introduction of TiDBX. Catherine, please.
So let me introduce TiDBX. It's our latest release, and it's a state-of-the-art cloud database built for multidimensional scaling to meet the rapidly evolving needs and complex demands of applications in the AI era, similar to the Jira story and the Mana story. Now, what does this mean for you? First, you can ship your application releases fast, improving your time to market. You can pay less with much more efficient resource utilization, and you can improve your customer satisfaction. Now, TiDB handles multiple workloads, one database for your transactional, analytical, AI, so you can eliminate all your ETL pipelines and reduce the cost and latency of duplicated data. Stop over-provisioning. Pay only for what you use. TiDBX scales efficiently, so you don't have to over-provision for peak workloads. You can just scale when you need it. No more downtime for upgrades. With our rolling upgrades and online schema changes, we let you evolve your application without downtime or maintenance windows. And you can rely on TiDB's stable performance through heavy workloads and peak demand, which all leads to better user experience and higher customer satisfaction. Now, TiDBX has been architected for cloud scaling. Our cloud-native storage engine leverages object store for durable, resilient persistence. That gives us a storage layer that's naturally elastic. On top of that, TiDB introduces our latest workload-aware storage scaling engine. And because we decouple compute and data, we're able to independently scale those things. So we can scale horizontally in or out, rapidly and intelligently based on what your workload needs in that moment. We also bring you advanced resource isolation by separating queries and background tasks, eliminating their impact on their neighboring processes. So you're able to do heavy analytics, maintenance jobs, and allow for resource hog queries to run without stealing capacity from your critical user traffic. You get reliable, predictable performance even under mixed, complex, varied workloads. And with Object Store, we're also able to provide fast, snapshot-based, point-in-time backups, even at the petabyte scale. So recovery is both simple and reliable. So let's dive a little deeper into that object storage architecture. Without Object Store, the biggest bottleneck and challenge to scaling is really the network bandwidth and data transferring between nodes. But with TiDBX Cloud Storage Engine, S3 acts as the network, offering near unlimited bandwidth and enabling data to be distributed across existing and new nodes effortlessly. So this frees your storage nodes to actually focus on your application transactions. So there's really three key outcomes of this that I want to highlight. First, this establishes a shared, durable data layer that provides a single source of truth. It gives you consistent P99. It isolates resources and spins up new resources for heavyweight workloads, for analytics and batch jobs, while letting your OLTP workloads stay isolated and protected from noisy neighbors. And then it's also going to lower your TCO, allowing your workload to drive your resources, spinning up and spinning down resources to adapt to the workload quickly for maximum efficiency. Now here I'm showing an example workload. Typical database architectures require over-provisioning to handle the kind of peaks that you'll see in day-to-day traffic. Now with TiDBX, we're able to automatically scale in and out for maximum efficiency. In our traditional provisioned database, you'll see that for most of the runtime, CPU, memory, and resources are vastly underutilized for majority of the time. But TiDBX has a much faster scale-out ability with data being fetched directly from data store. So that this is allowing for much more stable scaling performance, much less impact on existing nodes, and results in a maximum cost efficiency in that bottom example. High resource efficiency and reliable performance under unpredictable workloads. So now let's go back to the Manus story.
Yeah, we gotta go better now. Boom, boom, pow, boom, boom, pow.
So let's take a look at how TiDB is enabling Manus's AI ecosystem and allowing them to scale in the era of agentic AI. Here's one example from Manus. So let's say you are a tenant. You go onto their application and you ask Manus to build you a blog website. This is a new project. The agent will then spin up a TiDB starter cluster with initial table schema and run the blog system off of that. Once the app is running, you can provide further prompts to the application and add more features as new attempts. Manus will create a starter branch from the TiDB initial database and update the schema, the new branch schema to support those new features. So conceptually, what does this mean? Let's say thousands of Manus tenants are each running dozens of agents or applications and are respectively spawning multiple TiDB branches, all handled seamlessly by TiDBX. So overall, agentic systems are inherently unpredictable. This is not something that traditional databases can normally handle. But in this example, you can see that we have N tenants times X projects times Y agents times Z branches, all within minutes. So Manus 1.5, when they initially came online for their first hour, they created over 300 clusters and thousands of branches on TiDB Starter. It's the elastic scaling of TiDB that can handle that uncertainty gracefully. So if you want to learn more about Manus and their launch, Manus 1.5 and their launch, please do look up this QR code for our joint blog on its underlying TiDBX infrastructure. So the unpredictability of agents building databases needs a new wave of multi-dimensional cloud-native scaling. That's exactly the kind of dynamic behavior that TiDBX was built to handle. And what we're seeing with Manus is only the start. We are already seeing a hyper-growth of agent-created databases. On TiDB Cloud, 6 months ago, 15% of databases were built by agents. 3 months ago, that number rapidly increased to 50%. And today, a staggering 90% of databases are being created by agents. So agents have gone from a small part of that pie to an overwhelming primary creator of databases in our TiDB Cloud in under half a year. This shift is real, it's fast, and it's why cloud-native, multidimensional, scalable databases is becoming essential.
Thank you. So, if you want to start experimenting with TiDB, we are offering all those 4 editions of our cloud service. For people who want to start kicking the tires, Starter is the natural starting point. We have a very generous free tier that allows you to basically test all that functionality, Essential takes you up to the next level with additional resources and higher guarantees of performance and capabilities. And for full enterprise implementations, we have TiDB Premium that is available, is going to be available in the next couple of weeks. A little bit further down the road, but very soon, we're also going to have bring your own cloud flavor that allows us to run on your cloud instance for security and compliance purposes. All those additions are powered by TiDBX that we just reviewed with you over here. So, just to wrap it up, if you want to start, handling your data infrastructure in a much more cost-effective and performant way, stop moving data around. TiDB can help you manage OLTP, analytical, and AI workloads all on one agent, so you can significantly reduce the complexity of your tech stack. Number two, you can stop doing manual sharding. The database will do that for you automatically. So that will not spill over into your application. The database will take care of that. And you now can run that infrastructure without worrying about upgrade or maintenance downtime, because we guarantee the database will continue to operate while you upgrade. And at the same time, that allows you, frees you up to start building, shipping faster, and paying less. So if you want to see some of those capabilities live in action, our booth is down there, just behind Databricks one. Come and see, we're going to launch 2 demos right now, they're very short. One that shows TiDBX in action, and the second one is about how you can build a full agentic environment on top of TiDB. Thank you very much on behalf of both of us, and have a great rest of your reInvent experience. Thank you.